Charlie Munger once said the first $100,000 is a bitch. He wasn't joking. Here's the part nobody explains. After that number, something strange happens to your money. It stops needing you as much. A person saving $1,000 a month at 8% growth needs almost 6 years to hit six figures. The next $100,000? Under 3 years, same income, same discipline, half the time. That's not motivation talk. That's math. And once you understand why the first $100,000 behaves so differently from every dollar after it, you'll never look at your bank balance the same way again. This isn't about getting rich quick. It's about a threshold, a specific point where compounding stops being a formula in a textbook and starts becoming a force you can feel. Most personal finance content tells you to just start investing and let compounding work. What it never explains is why the early years feel so unfair. You save aggressively for years, and the number barely moves. Then, seemingly overnight, your portfolio starts growing faster than you're contributing. Beat That Shift has a name, a number, and a reason. And understanding it changes how you plan the next decade of your financial life. Here's what's actually happening under the surface. In the beginning, almost 100% of your net worth growth comes from your own contributions. Your effort is doing nearly all the work. Picture two savers. Saver A puts away $1,000 every month. In year one, their investment gains might be $400. Their contributions for the year, $12,000. The gains are almost invisible next to the deposits. But by the time that account reaches $100,000, the math has quietly flipped. At 8% average annual growth, $100,000 generates roughly $8,000 a year, without a single new dollar added. That's nearly a full year of saving, created automatically every single year forever. This is where the story takes a sharper turn. The first $100,000 isn't just a math problem, it's a behavior problem. Most people quit between year 2 and year 4. Not because the strategy failed, but because the early growth curve looks flat on a chart, even though the underlying engine is already being built. Ask yourself this: if compounding is mathematically guaranteed, why do so many people abandon it right before it accelerates? Because humans evaluate progress visually, not exponentially. A graph that looks flat for 4 years and then bends sharply upward in year 7 doesn't feel rewarding in year 3. It feels like nothing is happening. Beat that gap between what's mathematically true and what feels true is where most wealth-building plans quietly die. Stay with me, because what comes next is the part that nobody talks about. The world tells you wealth building gets harder as the stakes get bigger. The reality is the opposite. It gets easier because the money itself becomes a second income stream. The first $100,000 is hard because you are the only engine. The next $100,000 is faster because now there are 2 engines, your contributions and your money's own growth working at the same time. For most savers, this threshold remains invisible, not because it's hidden, but because nobody breaks down the actual numbers behind it. This isn't a 1990s story about pensions. Look at what's happening right now with automated investing, fractional shares, and near-zero-fee index funds. The tools to cross this threshold faster have never been more accessible, and most people still don't know the threshold exists. The practical takeaway is simple. The goal isn't to chase a perfect investment. The goal is to protect consistency long enough to reach the point where your money starts pulling its own weight. Most people will never run these numbers for themselves. Now you can. The first $100,000 is hard by design. It's the only part of the journey you have to build alone. If this breakdown helped you see your own numbers differently, that's worth passing on. Next time, we go deeper into the exact age most people cross this threshold and why waiting even 2 years changes the final number more than people realize.